intro.
Have you any hobbies?
My hobbies are fast cars and fast women.
Hobbies are healthy. They teach you things. Are you ready? Are you ready?
We are live here. It is Around the UFL, guys. Welcoming you on in for an episode that maybe you've been waiting for, maybe for about a week, about a half week or so. You know, we got some things to talk about. It's, you know, just a few details going on in the league that maybe or maybe we should be talking about and have some updates for you on this latest edition. If you're just joining, if you haven't been on before, welcome aboard. I'm Zach Common hosting this week. A little bit different look, but that's okay. And we got our motley crew, as always, consisting of PFN's finest and friendliest as we do. And I'll go around the horn clockwise. Above me on screen, and someone that beat the buzzer to start the show, it's Mr. James Baker over there in Texas. Good sir, how's it going for you? I was waiting to say hi to you before show, but I guess I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, going good, guys. Sorry, Tuesday is typically towards the end of the day, it slows down a bit, but I just kept getting emails, and I was like, man, don't you all know I have to go on a UFL podcast in an hour? Can work wait? But glad I was able to make it, so thank y'all.
Hey, happy you're here, man. Glad to have your input as well, and glad to have a little Renegades conversation on for the show this time around. On to the right side of Mr. Baker, we've got the man himself out in the great state of Ohio. It is Ducky joining us here. Good sir, glad to talk with you. You definitely have some news to discuss for this episode. Again, we got a lot, actually. I know I kind of implied a little small amount, but there's every little piece and details that affects this whole thing. And sir, you might have a team over in your college team's town pretty soon.
I'm a happy guy about that.
Yeah, I bet
A lot of other people aren't happy, but I'm happy.
Oh, I bet you're thrilled.
Fourth team in 4 years.
Listen, no,
15?
2019 was Atlanta Legends, and then 2020 was Seattle Seahawks, or not Seahawks, Seattle Sea Dragons, I guess, but and then obviously Breakers, then Maulers.
Well, there you have it.
Defenders, Showboats,
You know,
Columbus Aviators.
it's a little
Leaked.
it's the circle of fandom. Just kind of some point it'll cycle back. Just give it a little bit of time. But we'll talk much more about Columbus and the other aspects of what has been a quite a week of news as we finally end with the insider man himself, James Larson, joining us. Of course, the man who is, the backbone of this show, right down in the corner, and really, I would say the backbone of PFN and many of the updates we've been getting. Sir, good to see you. I would say let's just get started with you right away. We got pretty much a lot of stuff that is moving in the direction of what we had talked about last show, with kind of discussing future endeavors the league might be going into with some of its teams. We got an update on a new massive partner who's joining with the UFL in Mike Repole. Where do you want to kick off with this? I mean, there is a lot going on in just one day around his introduction, along with his own branch that's going to be running the business operations of this whole deal now. A lot of stuff, it feels like, is moving and shaking with how the infrastructure of the league is going to be handled moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to start right off with Abdul's comment about the Brooklyn Nets. Got to start there. Yes, I'm a Nets fan, and I have been the whole time, okay? I'm not a bandwagon for Kyrie, and Kevin Durant grew up in Staten Island, was a New Jersey Nets fan, and honestly, I actually used to report on the Brooklyn Nets back during COVID for Nets Republic, so if my UFL career dies, I'm definitely going back there, which might happen sooner than later. But on another note, yeah, it's very interesting, and it all makes sense now. I feel like, a lot of these talks of trying to relocate 2 to 4 markets, like Repole said, like, this makes sense. This is why we're hearing all this buzz behind the scenes about the league trying to move forward teams. And obviously, you're in a spot where, 1, financially the league isn't doing fantastic, and 2, now you do have new ownership in Repole, who's got some really deep pockets and can really come in and help, hopefully push this league forward in the right direction. And I really love his vision. I think this is what the UFL needs, right? The UFL can't go into season 3 with the exact same vision, the same ideas. It's not necessarily working. Like, the game plan, the blueprint is there. They're just not executing the right way. It's kind of like a football team, right? Where, like, the pieces are there. There's a talent there. But on the field, they're just simply not executing. That kind of feels like what the UFL has been like the last couple of years throughout this merger process, and just trying to get on their feet and trying to find the right markets and venues and the right marketing, et cetera, et cetera. For Repole, I think, is going to come in, really help give them a facelift, and hopefully pushes them into 2026 and beyond.
Seems like he's very ambitious about this whole venture, and that there's a lot of untapped potential that Mike Repole has brought up in many of the releases, many of the discussions that he's had. I know Front Office Sports had an exclusive interview with him for this that they kicked off the day with, that I imagine the league kind of formulated and made sure the announcement was synchronized across all of their media releases, as we're very familiar seeing in this space. There's no coincidence. You see everybody dropping at a similar point. Might just be 1 or 2 different things on who gets what access to such. But we had a lot of details come out of his discussion, out of releases from the league with this. We're talking Columbus getting a team as confirmed this year. So Columbus, Ohio, you're going to have a fan base. Upwards of 2 to 4 of the teams are going to be relocated right now. And that venue relocations are basically league-wide up for debate and being reevaluated at this point. What else do we get? Impact Capital, his equity firm, is going to be running the business side of things now, which would include a lot of tickets, marketing, and merch. So much of a big change there as well. And another random tidbit I'll throw in there. Apparently the Qatar fund for kind of their sovereignty fund is involved in this. There's a lot that was going on. Different places were dropping different tidbits all day. Where else do you want to start, guys? I'll tell you where I want to go with this is immediately the Impact Capital side of the business. A lot of his words on this go, look, we want to be in markets faster. We want to be locally down on the ground in markets longer. We want to find ways to energize ticketing fan bases and venues to get tickets. And one of the biggest parts of this whole relocation process, embracing not only the MLS market size or venue size, but embracing a smaller venue for a more energetic atmosphere. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. Great start.
Zach, where are you going with that? Sorry, again.
No,
My boy
fine.
distracted me.
I notice a lot of people are mainly saying is because James is so used, Baker that is so used to being in the chat. So can't, the clips of UFL highlights are definitely still somewhat there, but you know.
That Jamar Smith edit was fire.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Thank you.
It's really good. I'll say with this Baker, what do you make of all this? One of the other tidbits of this that I actually want to tack you in is, you know, and it wasn't fully addressed by this, but we're still up in the air, is the whole Texas Renegades portion of this discussion, or rebranding of.
My whole thing with this kind of switch in, I wouldn't say switch in ownership, just addition of ownership, is we need an owner that wants to market the UFL, not have the UFL market them. Like, Danny Garcia, I'm sorry, you need to sit down and have that conversation. You're not a celebrity, you're not an influencer. Nobody is like, oh, yeah, the UFL, that thing that's owned by Danny Garcia. Nobody's ever said that in the history of mankind. The Rock, you only post about the UFL maybe 2-3 times a year. But every time you post it, it's in conjunction with your other brands, trying to drive traffic to your other brands. Repole seems like he is dedicated to growing this business, not other business ventures. And as far as the whole Texas Renegades thing, Arlington Renegades thing, Dallas Renegades thing, pick a name, but address the elephant in the room. Nobody's going to be like, oh, it's called the Texas Renegades now. Let me go buy a ticket. Nobody knows if it's going to be the Texas Renegades. Nobody knows who the Arlington Renegades are. Nobody knows who the Dallas Renegades are. You got to pick a name, just run with it. And I think that's the whole thing, is we have all the tools ready to go. And we just need somebody to pick up and run. So that's what I'm hoping that can just be like jump-started here.
I completely agree, and I think the verbiage that I love from Repole, looking at the few interviews that he's done with ESPN and Source Business Journal and whoever else, is he wants to be aggressive, right? Like, he's kind of trying to bring like a gritty culture. Like, we're going to be aggressive. He's very, very adamant on, like, hey, this is going to be a failure in 10 years if we're not to 16 teams. Like, that's actually a pretty impressive timeline. Like, I don't even know if that's reasonable, but I love it. Like, let's be aggressive. Let's get out there. And, like, the problem is, I think that's been the frustrating thing with the UFL the last couple of years, is it's been this constant mantra of, like, we're drinking from a fire hose, we're behind the 8 ball, like, we're trying to get our ducks in a row. Like, it's time to get the ducks in a row. Like, this is do or die. I think having Repole in now, like, this gives you some more wiggle room, in the sense of, like, I'm not as concerned about season 3 being do or die anymore. You know, that was for sure a concern for me up until this Repole news came out. But now, you know, let's see what, you know, Mike's taking over business decisions, but is he? Like what are we going to see him actually do here behind the scenes? How much control is he going to have? How much backlash is he going to get from other leaders and ownership in the league when he's trying to make decisions? You know, look, guys, like, attendance is not going to be good in this market. We've got to go somewhere else. I know, Fox, I know you love your TV ratings, but guess what? They're at 600,000 average. Let's try to go to a market where, sure, you might lose 20,000 viewers overall, but you're getting an extra 10,000 butts and seats a game. Like, stuff like that. We'll see how that shakes out, but I'm excited. I really like the verbiage that Repole's come in with, and let's hope he's a lot more committed than Dundon.
That is not the first time. Actually, quite frankly, that was a small but I think very loud group was saying this feels like a Tom Dundon move right here. You know, man comes in, and now I'll be fair. This to add into this. You know, Russ Brandon was asked if this was considered a bailout or saving type of move to bring in Repole, and he adamantly denied that. That was they want another partner, strategic with their vision, blah, 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 corporate speak, you name it. But, you know, we all as fans, you know, many of us followed the AAF, many of us had a little bit of PTSD from that. You know, I'm not saying it's this, and quite frankly, all the reports are saying that, unlike Dundon at the time, he is not considered one of the top investors in this league still whatsoever. It's still Redbird, Fox, and Disney via ESPN is what has been revealed in many of these reports on the current structure of the partnerships of the league. So nothing like that. But I don't think it's wrong for some folks to kind of, I mean, at least out of caution, be going, a lot of ambition. Does that ambition stay? You know, it's always great to buy something. You know, it feels good to be involved in the moment, but what's the long haul? You know, that's what we'll be finding out, and I think that's going to be the ultimate test. I see this a lot in arena. It's at a much grander scale at this size with a league like the UFL. Oh, you're muted, James, if you're or Baker, if you're talking.
That's embarrassing.
Hang on. That's
I
my
say
bad.
at least Dundon and Repole have a shared vision of shutting down operations in Birmingham, Alabama. So there's that to go with it.
That's crazy.
I'm waiting for Bama 205 to say
I
something.
should have invited Chase.
That's a good one.
Well, look, I mean, we'll see what happens over these next. The nice thing is Rapoli's, again, he's being aggressive and he's given us a due date. Like he's basically said, within the next 30 days, we're gonna have announcements. So hopefully around September 1st, Labor Day ish, that kind of time frame, we're gonna at least have an idea of 2 new markets and potentially up to 4. So I think that's great news, and hopefully, like I said, it's just a matter of getting the ball rolling quickly. Like before we know it, it's going to be February, right? And teams going to be starting training camp, and if they move the season up, which obviously that's something that we've been hearing as well, like this is going to be a really, really important stretch these next, I want to say 2-3 months to make sure everything's in line, so that by the time it's October, November, you're like legitimately selling tickets. And in these new markets, you're actually getting out and about, and you've got boots on the ground. Like that's gonna be crucial.
Yeah, you don't want a repeat of year one. Whenever we started with what month did we get Michigan sales for year one? James, what are you laughing at? I already see your face. You're trying to not laugh.
Boy. I can't put it on screen.
But yeah, year one, we didn't get Michigan tickets until what? Like 2 weeks?
What the hell?
Oh.
Yes, it was year one of UFL was
Sort of March, right?
Sales, man.
Yeah, but I mean, that they had their reasons for that. But honestly, it's the same situation. They're waiting on venues to be approved and stuff like that, and you can't wait that long to do that. That's just...
Well, and I will say I do appreciate the, how do I put this? I would say the incentive to move this along that Repole's putting on here with trying to say, look, we need to get this sorted out. And keep in mind, he's also saying this too, because his group, Impact Capital, is now taking up the burden of doing the ticketing, of doing these business related items that the league has kind of had to balance out on how they operate them the last 2 years. He's taking the boatload of this, and that's a main core pillar of this partnership he's joining in with, is that he's going to be starting to run that side of the coin on trying to make that business side profitable, which, you look at this man's track record, it's been nothing but hits for most of his time as a businessman. Body Armor, Vitamin Water, we're talking one of the most successful horse racing operators in the country as well, running clothing brand for Tom Brady, which, funny enough, that's amazing how the Tom Brady connection comes in all of a sudden like that. There's a lot to look at that's good for the league, I think, in terms of kind of taking some burden off is the deal. And I think that the 30-day limit does help with that. My question, though, and I think is what we're all wondering, is how realistic is it for saving venues that have been, as we've talked already, and it has been reported by, James here or, company elsewhere, in terms of saving those USFL teams? Because the only one we've seen publicly that's mentioned that they're trying to actively discuss how to fix this is Birmingham. Mayor Woodfin has brought up that they have tried to bring solutions up to the table, that there are talks right now with the league on what things could work. Beyond that, feels like nothing else is going on. Michigan doesn't really even feel like it has options unless the league approaches those said options, which up until since a few days ago, EMU's own athletic director said they still have heard no word from the league on that being an option for a venue. And outside of that, there's really no small venues or smaller and I would say more cost-effective venues in the state of Michigan that really makes sense, that doesn't take them too far away from their initial spot of play. Memphis and Houston seem almost dead in the water elsewhere.
And that's the sad part with Michigan, is because of how expensive Ford Field is. And when you put the pieces together and you look at the fact that EMU, right, hasn't heard at all from the UFL, if the UFL was trying to save Michigan, you'd assume that they would at least reach out. Like there would have to be some conversation with EMU, especially considering the athletic director came out and told Mike Bell, in Bell's report, that he'd be open to discussing a permanent home for the Panthers and changing the turf color and whatnot, depending on what that relationship could become or look like. So, the fact that, and of course, on one hand, sure, the athletic director might be behind NDAs and might not be able to say anything, but
Of course.
his verbiage and what he was saying, it felt like he was being completely and totally honest. Like, guys, I have not heard from this league since 2023, and I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Michigan's one of those tough situations where I'm just like, why bring them on in the merger if you know that that's how much it costs to rent that stadium? There is no world in which you're packing out Ford Field and making that, profitable for you. And the fact that they haven't even reached out to any other universities, they fired all their staff, their marketing staff, which actually saw results last season. It looks to me like Michigan would be the most dead in the water USFL team to me, despite their attendance growth last year.
It seems that way, it's rough because I think that you have a market that if it isn't that we're all sitting here and going, well, unless you like EMU that much and you have a theoretical USL stadium coming in another year's time after that, then we could be possibly talking about that move as well. And it also hits even harder for me and a few of us that have discussed this where, you have Columbus joining next year as a confirmed team. You miss on a massive marketing potential of having two really rivalistic fan bases, more statewide hatred. Not even like it does come from college sports, but it is an adamant sentiment of I hate Michigan, I hate Ohio as a concept. That is a perfect marketing concept. It just, some factors are beyond your control. It just sucks you can't make that work because that would be a perfect thing to work and to keep on expanding upon what has been some good gains just north of Ohio that would be used for this coming season. If they can't find a solution or if they don't want to bend and use EMU or some other kind of workaround. Because I feel like people feel like, I think, and I'll leave it off with this going for the next point. If they can find an intermediate place this year, could they then jump to DCFC venue the year later? I think that's what the synopsis is from a lot of us as Panthers fans is, can we find a bridge year? Just 1 year to get this fan base over the hump and move them to a new venue so we don't have to restart again. Because it's going to be brutal to lose a season and then have to go back and have to reset everything and re-educate people out there going, hey, we didn't really leave. We just took a year off. Guy from experience in arena, and especially with big fan bases in arena football, it's not hard to restart. It's very hard to restart those guys and people that were there in the past. You got to be very vocal in the marketing, and that's not an easy task.
No, I'm with you there, Zach. Another piece that's interesting with Repole too, and kind of his comments of how when he joined the UFL, it feels like. Let me see if I can find the quote. I think today is the first day of the United Football League. That's a really interesting comment to put out there, considering the UFL's been around for 2 years, and I think it goes to show because on one hand, Repole, he's talking about the owners that he's joining forces with in Fox Sports and Redbird and ESPN and Disney, and of course Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Danny Garcia, and he calls them the Dream Team. And then in these articles, you kind of get this underlying message of the fact that, hey, the UFL is doing almost everything wrong, and there's a lot that we need to fix, and there's a lot that we need to change. And he's not necessarily like putting all the blame on the league itself, but he's like, talking about the viewership experience. He's calling them COVID games, which is true. I mean, we've talked about that quite a bit, especially when you look at Memphis and Houston in particular. But like, it feels to me that Repole sees the vision, he sees the potential kind of like we do, but he also understands that this league has done a lot wrong, especially on the business side of things, and that needs to change because the product is there. I think everybody can agree that the product is phenomenal. I mean, it's the best spring football product that we've seen since the XFL in 2020, and I'd argue that we might actually be past the XFL in 2020 at this point with the amount of NFL free agents that come to the league and the coaching that we have in this league, etc. But from a business perspective, it needs an overhaul. So I'm excited to see what Repole does because I think having him on board now and his vision is going to help. But I just thought those comments were interesting, how 1 second he's calling it the Dream Team, but then the rest of what he says makes it pretty evident that he's like listen, this entire thing, this entire game plan needs to be changed.
It's needed. It is. I think it's more of a reset. I know you can only say so much about your own crew to a publication without not feeling like you're going to undermine someone. So I feel like you're kind of towing a line as close as you can there without actually trying to admit something if you were to say something like that. But the reset's needed, at least the business end. How drastic, I don't know. And quite frankly, whatever 4 markets they go into, there's been a lot of talk about how they'll change over the near term. We're going to do more in the cities finally. We're going to do A, B, and C. We're going to revolutionize our game day experience. Well, it's a lot, and it's going to be some stuff that I think is going to need a lot more proving because I know it's going to be a little more distant now between who owns and funds and who these guys are that are going to be getting the people in the seats. But there's going to be a lot of people I think going to be asking, you better prove it, because we've heard a lot of the same song and dance before too. The results haven't changed. You need to start seeing changes. And, hopefully a lot of what fans have demanded, I think actually we hope for will get put into place, especially if they're wanting to be 16 teams by 2035. That's still pretty ambitious, even if it is less ambitious than the original USFL's thoughts, I think, to getting to 12.
Yeah, it's got to be good to see Ripoli's kind of looking at everything from, the top down. He's even breaking down, flat out why are we in this market, what we need to do in these markets, all the way through his kind of growth plan. So it's been great to see that transparency. When The Rock first joined the XFL ownership, it was all just kind of, oh, we're going to, reinvent the wheel here, but didn't exactly lay out his game plan and what they're wanting to do. And everything was kind of behind the curtain, half-assed, thrown together. But Repole seems to be like, hey, we're kind of looking at everything from a glance. We're kind of coming to a decision. In 30 days, we'll let everybody know. But kind of this is where we want to go, and this is what we need to do to get there. So it's been great to see kind of that pathway from a spring football owner, because we haven't had that since honestly 2020. Because USFL had their vision, but I don't think they truly had the backing and support that they have now with Redbird on board. Dwayne, even though he only posts a couple times a year, still has that bankroll with him. Danny may have something, and then Repole now.
Random thing with Redbird, by the way, and was brought up in a previous show. They're heavily now invested in the newly merged Skydance Paramount acquisition. I'm not going to go into too much with that, but look, Redbird has their hands in everything is what I'm trying to say. You got to keep and pay attention. They do sports. They do media. Front Office Sports, by the way, they're the primary partner. Their primary partner is Redbird. If you look at their website, they're always moving and shaking. They're always going to be involved. So, I don't know. Just my advice is just pay attention to what they're doing, because I think they can always be, I would say, keeping you on your toes. And I think that they're always going to be looking for the next best opportunity. As long as they're still involved, I feel like that feels like there's potential in this for sure. Not to mention Fox, who's just bought a third of IndyCar. They want to still own and invest in sports leagues right now too. So still involved, still wanting to make this work. I just think with football, you need more partners because it's a more expensive venture, a little less support on those fronts than say like a racing car circuit where you have like all these teams that are already funding everything, or even like a smaller venture, like say like we talk about Big Three a lot as like kind of we've said in the past, like a model of selling these teams. Well, it's like 7 and 8 players that you're funding, less than say like 52-man rosters here that we're talking about. It's a much different ballgame.
Speaking of rosters, we've seen quite a bit of UFL to NFL movement over the last couple of weeks, which has been really, really great to see. We're up to, I believe, 37 UFL players having signed NFL contracts so far. A couple have been released, unfortunately, but that's what happens when you're in the thick of the preseason getting underway. But it's been great to see a lot of talented guys. I mean, our guy from Michigan, Toa Tawa, signed with the Browns, and excited to see him making his debut in a couple. I think he's making his debut Friday, I believe. So,
Who?
we'll see. His first true NFL action. Excited to see that.
Who?
Toa.
Oh shoot! Hell yeah!
Oh
He
yeah.
plays Friday.
I believe so. Yeah,
Where's it at?
that's a good question. I don't know.
It'll be in Carolina against the the Browns will be traveling over for the Panthers.
I think he sticks. I think he's a good fit for what the Browns do run wise. I think he'll fit in pretty well there, especially losing Judkins. Obviously, not going to
DJ
bring
Miller
what
to the
happened.
Lions, as
Yep.
Lauren points out. Another Michigan Panther signing with the Detroit Lions. You love to see it. I actually got a chance to go down to the Hall of Fame game last week, so that was
Yes,
really
you
cool.
did.
Down there in Canton, got to cover the game. Saw a few UFL alumni, of course, Jake Bates, the legend himself with the Lions, and then a few new signees, Jacob Sailors, Battlehawks running back. He's with the Lions now. He had a couple reps. He didn't really see much action. Had, I think, two rushes for 6 yards and a catch for 6 yards. Nick Whiteside, Battlehawks defensive back, he landed in Detroit as well. He had maybe 6, 7, maybe 8 reps. But oh no, I can't believe I just said that meme online. Dang it! I figure you noticed
6'7".
immediately.
6'7".
That was not intentional.
You're
I
getting
swear.
clipped.
That is. I'm
White-
cooked. My career to last. It's over.
Whiteside did record a tackle. I saw.
Yeah,
mentioned
yeah, he had a
Sailors,
tackle.
two
But the big one is Ryan Nelson with the Chargers. He played a lot of snaps. He played all but 10 snaps. With the Panthers, he played at left tackle. In this game, he played at right tackle. Even got some comments from Jim Harbaugh after the game about how good Nelson looked and how he 5 minutes into the workout, Harbaugh said he knew that this guy was good at playing football. So that's really encouraging to see. And once again, proving that the UFL and NFL pipeline is alive, and it's why this league exists, league of opportunity.
That's what we look forward to with this. I'm glad to see these guys get some reps. Honestly, to circle back, the Tuatoa one is going to be one that is on my radar right away. Clearly, it'll be overshadowed by the fact that Shedeur Sanders is getting his first start with injuries over on that Browns QB room. But as Ducky brought up, I do agree. And from reading, he does have a legitimate shot to hit that roster due to the fact that there's no clear number one right now in Cleveland. And they also have been banged up at running back. So he was brought in to kind of help supplement and kind of see if they can get some clarity on that running back room. And I think, he's come in there with a pretty opportunistic place to go right now. So
I truly think he sticks. Like the way Cleveland, the way they get their running backs, he is built for Cleveland. The way they run the ball, he reminds me of Nick Chubb a lot. So it's like, I think he'll replace that running back room pretty well. I'm excited to see it.
Well, staying in Cleveland, but looking at the tight end room, he may be tight end 5, but I've been seeing Shedeur Sanders' Sal Cannella highlights like every single day on my timeline.
Yep.
So he's definitely sticking in my book.
Sal who?
Oh, I just got my number 2 at cheese.
Oh,
Hey.
Been waiting a while for that one.
shout out to James's wife.
Yeah. But
My wife.
yeah, I'd like to see one of the Renegades tight ends stick, whether it's Sal up there in Cleveland or Seth down there in New Orleans. Even though I saw you had a drop touchdown early today, which
Seth got cut today.
I did not see that yet. It's been a busy day.
I'm sorry, Baker comes on the show doing us a favor, and I just
Yeah,
Drop him.
Rip my heart
That's
out.
embarrassing.
with that news.
Sal's next.
Yeah, Green got cut. Mario Goodrich got dropped from the Broncos, but picked up by the Jets. And Yasir Durant with the Patriots was put on IR. That's the majority of the releases that I know of, or changes at least. Everyone else is stuck. Bradley and I just signed with the 49ers. I really like that signing, and I was phenomenal with the Stallions. He's got those Robert Saleh ties there in San Francisco with the 49ers. Formerly was with him with the Jets, so that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm still looking around. Glad to see that. Glad to see I'll get more reps. By the way, I'm hoping Deion Kane sticks. I'm wanting to see him get some more. And I liked your piece, by the way, on highlighting James that he definitely is more aggressive than we've seen. Where it's almost like he bulked up a little bit and has been trying to, I think, show that he's not just a catch and get out of bounds type of guy. So
Yeah, I mean,
perhaps
he
trying
was
to angle to get that spot. Maybe some critiques he's listened to from coaches in the past.
very physical this year, and so far in Phil's camp, I've seen a couple of tweets about folks have been impressed with just his catch radius and what he's been able to do. So I think he definitely has a chance to stick in Buffalo. Obviously, he was there last year with the team for a while in their practice squad, so that connection also helps his case. And then a couple of guys. So Braylon Sanders, he's staying home with the Washington Commanders. Obviously, DC Defenders won the championship with the team this year. He averaged 25.5 yards per reception during the regular season with the Defenders. Gets picked up by the Commanders. He had, I believe, 5 or 6 workouts before signing with Washington. So that's a guy. And Baker, your guy, Ricky Lee, ends up with the Jaguars, and he had, I believe, 6 workouts too. I mean, he got a ton of looks before finally signing with Jacksonville, so that was pretty solid to see as well. A lot of guys getting attention. I'm trying to think of Kyler Ball, an example of a Battlehawks guy. He's only 23 years old. Comes to the UFL, was inactive half the season, but injuries allow him to get some starting reps, and he goes out there, and now he's signing with the Steelers. So, just another success story.
Love to see it. Yeah, and we're gonna have plenty more to discuss here on those stories here just this week. Like I said, it's kind of weird this time of year now, where you're like, oh yeah, the other seasons are about to kick off very soon. College at the end of the month, NFL's getting into preseason gear right now. Had plenty of our own training camp stuff to discuss, and finally get to see these guys. We can see some highlights in action here, just at the end of this week. It's about to show up. Feels
I'm
good.
excited.
Feels real good.
Thursday, we don't have a ton of guys to watch for, but the Eagles have Jacob Sykes, who they signed, Brahma's defensive tackle. Who else is playing Thursday? I need to look at the schedule, because there's a couple guys playing.
Let's see. Colts versus Ravens. Then you got Bengals, Eagles, and to cap off Thursday, it's the Raiders, Seahawks.
Yes, okay, the Raiders have Seth Williams, so that's a guy to watch. Friday will be packed. Detroit and Atlanta's going to be really fun because the Falcons have Jay-Sean Corbin. I believe they also have another UFL guy that they signed. Lions obviously have 3 or 4 guys now between Bates, Whiteside, Sailors, and DJ Miller. And they signed Luke Barku, as Abdul Mimin pointed out, who was formerly a Brahma in 2023. Washington, they've got Sanders, as I just mentioned. The Patriots have R.J. Moten and Alec Lindstrom, the former Showboats lineman. Cleveland, Toa, Keenan Isaac, Sal Cannella. There's a lot of guys to watch Friday. It's gonna be fun.
We loaded.
You see the boxes behind me. I'm not sponsored by Home Depot, but I'm moving apartments on Friday, so I will definitely not be watching, but we'll be following along. So need you guys to tweet about it for me.
Fake fan. If you're a real fan, you'd be driving with your phone like this in front of you, watching the game.
Watching Shedeur Sanders throw touchdowns to Sal Cannella. I mean, it's your one and only chance.
He'll actually see it next year whenever Sanders goes to the UFL. And
for the Texas Renegades.
We should really just start recruiting the Sanders fans over, because, I mean, like, it seems like the perfect timing. I mean, we're all rooting for Sal. Might as well just be like, hey, your success is our success. Like, start whipping out that chain. Get that watch going right now.
To be honest, I'm a Sanders fan. I think he'll do okay in the NFL. I'm not a Dylan Gabriel fan, the guy who's above him.
I feel like that watch Sanders flexes is more than his UFL salary would be. So
it's probably about triple.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the Brahmas and the Showboats are currently tied in second place for the most UFL to NFL signings right now.
Yeah, they've been getting a lot of people out there.
Brahmas,
how many?
Brahmas, I think, had 3 guys signed over the past week. The Showboats have had 4. Jalen Allen.
Offense, how many defense?
Yeah. Jalen Allen, young edge prospect, and Jaron Horton's defense. He showcased his motor. He looked good. Josiah Brunson, he's been in the NFL before. So with the Colts and Patriots last year. He had that crazy pick against the Brahmas, funny enough, week 8. Kwame Lassiter, the wide receiver, former Bengal. A lot of talented guys. Like, Memphis is a team that, man, like, if they could have just not had all the chaos to begin the year, like, they would have at least been a 4-6, 5-5 team, I feel like.
Yep. And same with the 2023 Maulers with Jaron. They had a few guys go to the NFL too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Weren't the Maulers up there in terms of like most players
you had
to
Mark
go?
Gilbert go to the Dolphins. You had Arnold Tarpley go to the Falcons.
Yeah.
Tizino, he signed with the 49ers, I think.
Yep.
They had a few guys.
Just goes to show Jaron knows what he's doing. Get him out of the coordinator job. Give him a head coaching job.
Speaking of head coaches, I mean, that's going to be interesting to watch unfold here over the coming weeks. As we know, the UFL college draft is currently slated for the first week of September after all these NFL cuts.
I think it's when we hear the team announcements too.
Right. So it's going to be a really crazy busy time unless they decide to push the draft out a little bit more as well to try to spread that out a little bit. But at the same time, can you hold a draft if you don't even have staffs in place in some of these teams? Like, some of these teams there's going to be coaching changes. Obviously, Memphis and San Antonio's up in the air. At least they've got DC secure with Shannon Harris now. But there's also no guarantee that all the other 5 coaches return as well. I mean,
Yeah.
pay scale is going to be a little bit different again. That could possibly cause some change ups. GMs might be different. Like, that's a lot. There's a lot the league needs to get in order for that to happen September 2nd.
And do not do the draft without having your staff in place. The last thing you want is some random person just sitting there drafting people and then you don't even get to use them.
We kind of saw that with Memphis last year, where it was DiFilippo and Dennis Polian who did the college draft, and then they were ousted by the league like a week later. So,
yep, that's insane to do. That is Bush League stuff.
I would hope to God, if they are wanting to make some changes to better run this, that you do not run it without some sort of staff in place. We'll see. But I'm in the camp that they push it back again if they're going to be worried about uncertainty all the way up until close to the end of August, unless they already have some people in mind and have sorted this stuff out well in advance or have gotten it done by about now. So it just feels like if you want to do it properly, you should probably push it back to like maybe the end of September instead.
Yeah,
you still get past your cuts. You still can allow these guys to talk with coaching staffs and whatnot and discuss what that process is, league officials, and you get guys settled into where they can get ready to draft. It feels like there's too much going on to then just force a draft to happen.
Yeah.
You need to sign Bob Stoops up for some spring hobbies.
Yeah, maybe.
Need to sign him up for some anger management classes.
that's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm trying to think. I know we covered a decent amount here.
Oh shoot! What do we think? What do we think the Columbus team's going to be called?
I'd love to see Aviators. I feel like that's one that we kind of would have a hunch that would happen, considering just the name Aviators was trademarked by the league sometime over the last several months.
I hope to God they don't use that one.
We'll see.
It sounds so. Sounds like some AI would make up.
Were they Columbus Stallions or Louisville Stallions?
Columbus Stallions. We have a couple horses here. Oh, Jake Milligan said Columbus Crackheads. That's a
crazy coming from Birmingham.
Columbus Duckies. There we go.
I think if you were to
chat, give us some comments. What do you guys want us to discuss here down the stretch?
If Birmingham can't be saved, I would just put it in Louisville and just keep that as a condition.
Yeah, Stallions works there.
I mean, it's an easy move. You don't have to worry about investing into a brand as much. You can still use that same logo because Birmingham wasn't in there. You change the B logo, of course, and these are all hypotheticals. Again, it's really the only market that seems like there's any discussion on how that can be saved with some realistic kind of talk. So I think that's why you have to put a caveat. But like that one seems like a very easy switch to where you just move that over to Kentucky. Everything else is really short.
Now, with these team switches, what are y'all expecting the conferences to be switched to? Are we expecting like a north-south, east-west? Are we sticking with USFL, XFL?
The USFL, XFL is going to be
going
gone.
full XFL over here?
I think they're doing away with the XFL, USFL, because obviously USFL won after an XFL team couldn't even score a single point in a championship game year one. Didn't have enough time
And
to
then
change
an
it year
XFL
two.
team set the record for most points scored in a game.
Right, but the
Season 2.
Panthers still scored. Like, it's more embarrassing not to score at all. Like, your entire conference sucks. Like,
Right, but the Panthers had Bryce Perkins. I mean, the Brahmas
that?
had Chase Garber. So let's be real here.
Race who?
He
I
can
don't even know who that
teleport.
is.
Oh my gosh. Shoot, I had like a decent point to make, and then conferences. I'm positive that they're getting rid of the USFL and XFL conferences. I that's been talked about for a while, but look at the fact that you go to the UFL shop right now and everything is at least 50% off. Some of it's up to 70% off. You don't clear house like that on merch if you're like, this is what we saw when the leagues merged, right? These are the telltale signs back then that the merger was happening, when Vegas Vipers gear is 80% off, right? And New Jersey Generals gear is 70% off, like stuff like that. So I'd assume conferences get moved, or I mean, not moved, but like renamed, and stuff might get realigned, but we'll see. I'm curious, like, what are your guys' thoughts on like north, south, east, west? Like, it's complicated because it really just depends on what markets you go into, and also which ones are you eyeing for expansion first.
I would go east and west, just because I feel like east and west is like the NBA does it. I feel like they'll follow those footsteps, going with east and west, just because everybody says East Coast, West Coast, Best Coast, stuff like that. No one ever says North best area, South best area, unless you're talking about the Civil War, I guess. But
then, what would be the most like Western team? Would it be? My
San
geography
Antonio.
is terrible. Would it be Arlington?
That'd be San Antonio, wouldn't it?
If Boise doesn't work out, it would be San Antonio. Yeah.
It just doesn't feel too west.
I mean, I think I consider the Mississippi River where the West begins, and then, I mean, obviously St. Louis is the gateway to being shot, but the gateway to the West. Then you've got the East. So you'd have what?
I don't know. I need them to put a true West Coast team. Put a West team in Arizona for my buddy Zach there.
If the only way that would work, and I would, as much as I would love that, they have to move. The season's got to get moved up first, and then they'd have to front load the schedule every year, because that whole prevailing adage of it being hot in the South, well, yeah, you don't want to play in late May or June out here. You're just asking for a lot of trouble, And it's not like the league's already having enough problems getting night games on the regular as it is.
Christopher Cola Gaming said, we had the Vipers in the XFL North. Anything is possible. That is true.
Anything is possible. I would say, I think, to me, I have two schools of thought, and one of them has actually been brought into our chat, and I'll bring it up as the second point. I don't mind East-West as long as you keep on perpetuating that you are going to expand, and that which you are saying you are right now. That's been the case just this past week. So I don't mind doing that if you're already talking like next year for possible Boise, or like, Seattle comes back at some point or something like that. So there's that school of thought for one. The other idea, and to put my disclosure, I'm not as much of a fan on this yet, but no conferences, or just one straight league, all teams.
Highest seed.
It's already been hinted at that they wanted to try and, people have been talking for the last 2 years on even trying to consider moving to that best seed first kind of mentality anyway.
Yeah. I think I agree with
it.
that. I think do the best two, and then.
Yeah, I mean, they just decided to do it midway through the UFL season this past year, so didn't really.
Yeah, I mean,
they already tried to do it, didn't they? When they tried to push St. Louis in, and then everybody was like, no, and then the league's like, oh, we forgot to do this.
I mean, shoot, the fact we've had 2 years in a row where we've had 23 ended with discussion on we should do this and discuss this, and 24 having it where we have potential votes on it that fail. It feels like that's if you're talking this is the first year of the true UFL, you're as clean a slate as you would like, relocating and then just basically axing conferences and just going for a straight seeding if you want to do it. At least until you get more teams and get more of a definitive regional split. And if you don't want north-south or something like that, Columbus Soy Boys. They do grow a lot of soybean out there. That is true.
We also have one of the best hospitals for healthcare.
That is also true.
Healthcare is pretty important here.
Cleveland Clinic, man.
I'm gonna need that after I get shot by 3 UFL executives on the spot next game.
Firing squad.
We know what you did. You cannot walk away from this.
Well, guys, this was a fun show.
Yeah. I thought
Huge shout out to James Baker, guys. I mean, seriously.
huge shout out to Freddie Airmail, who I forgot to call whenever we needed a fourth.
Damn it, Ducky.
Next time.
For another day.
Got Freddie's got an IOU. Never mind. He's mocking me in the chat now.
I see they are removing Arlington Stadium, and that would be the dumbest move I think the league could make. There's no stadium around Arlington in like a 45-minute radius that truly works unless you're going to another giant stadium because it's Texas.
No, they're actually moving the stadium. Like, they're going to put it on wheels and push it somewhere else.
Now, that would be badass. Okay, so that Rangers Stadium, the Renegades play in the old one, but the OG Stadium, they tore it down and they built the new one in the parking lot. And then Choctaw, that's Choctaw Stadium. And then in that parking lot, they built the brand new stadium. So there's been 3 Rangers ballparks all within the same, like, square mile of each other.
Wait, when?
They demolished the OG Arlington Stadium like in the 90s, and they Choctaw's been there since 93.
When did we ask?
Damn.
I'm clipping that, by the way. That's getting posted.
Okay.
I'll say that I don't think you have them leave. You still have too good of a deal there from the city, one way or another. I heard that a bell.
Dude's got the freaking choir singing as his ringtone.
It was for a spam call.
My guy,
I just got one too.
My guy,
That's crazy.
rules. Silence that damn phone.
James Larson's ringtone is him 309.
Yay. I agree. We did miss Ref and Nick on this stream today. Shout out you guys. Ref is flying, so he gets a pass.
Well, he's flying here. I get to see him in less than 24 hours.
You guys can both reminisce on the teams that were.
You're showing part of that. I can't see the head.
Oh,
he's trying to show the missed call.
Yeah, that's Kyle Sloter.
He's trying to show his husband on the bike.
Oh, look at him.
Yep, looks unemployed.
Probably because he's made enough NFL money to not have to work ever again in his life.
Cap.
Mike Repole's calling.
Fact check it. Google's free. Don't Google it.
Yeah, Toyota Stadium would be nice, but I think you'd have to pay for it though. You also have to go across town to go do it. You know, it's
where's Toyota Stadium?
It's in Frisco, about 30 minutes outside of Arlington, and they have not been. They used to allow the FCS championship there every year, but they're typically pricey because they're looking at expanding that stadium too, and then they've not been too receptive to holding football games there.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem you have is like I like the idea of like focusing on the MLS stadiums now. You just got to make sure if you're going to ask, you're then dealing with owners that have to be willing to share your venue and allow a tenant.
Yeah,
and some of them.
Which is why I think
that.
Yeah, that's why I think they should stay in Michigan. One, because you have the Columbus, Ohio, and Michigan rivalry, and if you keep the Michigan team. Detroit FC is getting their stadium built in what? Not next year, but the year after?
27 is when it's supposed to be up. Now, I don't know the time frame. It could be 2 years in theory. Like, say, the season starts March and it's not done then. You know? But
I would honestly, I'd tough it out. Obviously, you can't go to EMU because they had said they wanted to be a permanent team if they go to EMU. So,
No, they'd be willing to discuss it being temporary. They just wouldn't change the turf for that, I don't think.
Oh, okay. They should, because EMU's turf sucks. Gray sucks.
But with that
Well,
Detroit FC stadium, like one, you're banking on them allowing it, and then two, you're banking on rent not being crazy absurd for a brand new MLS stadium.
That's true.
So it's kind of
To be fair, I think they'd allow it because like most Michigan sports teams just suck. So once Detroit FC gets in there, like they're going to start losing games. They're going to give up. The stadium's going to get abandoned. Then the UFL can move in.
Yeah, it's a 15 for those wanting to know. It's a 15,000 seat stadium. It would be just outside of downtown. It's in sight of downtown as well, so you'd still be able to go in Detroit. It's supposed to be ready by the 27 USL championship season, which in theory, just double checking, if you're wondering when the USL season kicks off, it's in March. So
That is the USL stadium, right?
yes,
Not MLS.
it's a USL stadium. DCFC is a USL team. So their season would start in March, which in theory coincides with the UFL's time frame. So there's even more supporting there as long as the stadium's not delayed, that as long as you can find a carryover for a year and you start talks now and they agree, that's what you have to negotiate is the deal.
Yeah.
But again, if the ownership of this USL team says no, well, then you're dead in the water again. So you'd have to be like knowing that you have a commitment post 26 into 27 that you can play there is your thing.
Yeah. You'd also run into a DC issue where you can only play on Sundays, stuff like that, because of the games going on, matches going on. Sorry,
Yeah, you'd
matches.
be playing around their
for the
schedule.
soccer
It'd be their
fans.
home. Yeah, they'd be the home tenant. So,
Yeah.
you know, back to restrictions again, and probably even more so than Detroit, given that, you know, at least with the Ford Field, you know, you can kind of navigate it a little bit around non-sport events.
Yeah, because you get like maybe a couple concerts or something like that there.
Mm-hmm. Issue is always the playoffs, which I mean, I do think that's something I want to see how they address it, and something I still feel needs to be addressed is okay, we're relocating teams, that's fine. I imagine these relocations will include focuses on places where we won't get barred for playoff games or things like that, or availability.
How think
how much will they fix? But also, will they fix the San Antonio issue? That still I feel is not getting talked about enough. By the way, you know they lost a home game last year. That still is an availability problem out there. You know this is something that's plagued the league now for 2 years. So it's got to be one of the top priorities going into the season if it's your true reset year. Everyone has to be able to accommodate everybody. It has to happen.
Yeah. That's the good thing about the Columbus team. Historic Crew Stadium. It's home to Crew too, but it's they're not going to have any issues scheduling there. But it's pretty much an open stadium at that point. The only thing there is, like you said, a couple events, maybe concerts, maybe.
And Repole really wants to work on that UFL MLS relationship as well, which I think will be very important. And money talks, and Repole's got plenty of it, so I think that'll help. You know, kind of having his background, just the power that he brings to the league is huge. So I'm excited to see how that plays out. I think that'll help a lot.
I see Brahma Bullpen saying they're good, but I don't buy anything until I see it. So I appreciate the insight. But again, seen it before. Availability always gets brought up. It's never perfect. So I don't buy the league yet. Prove me wrong. UFL.
Yeah.
That is what I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Well, guys, is that about it?
Go Aviators.
Aviators.
Take flight.
Hey, it's better than Mount Up. So as long if rebrands the Texas Renegades, Mount Up better be dead.
Is that actually your guys' thing? Mount?
That's actually our slogan is Mount Up.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is actually crazy.
Bob
What's St.
Stoops,
Louis's?
get ready to mount up, baby. Let's go.
Mount Up.
Wait,
Yeah.
what are the Brahmas then? Isn't it like Vamos Brahmas or whatever?
Yeah.
Mhm. Vamos promise.
Giddy up. Vamos promise. Mount up. I don't know the other ones.
No shit. Like I don't mean to be rude, but like, what do you want me to say to that?
I would hope. I would hope they have a contract if they've been
Like,
playing there for the past.
Do you think that's mattered in the past? Like, come on. Don't like that. I'm sorry. That's the silliest thing you could have put it up there, right there.
Take flight, soy boys. Let's go.
All
Take
right.
flight.
I think that's about all we got, gentlemen. Anything else we got before we head out?
Superman is from Ohio. Makes sense. Aviators all the way. Fuck it. Or frick it.
It's
Oh wait, Zach cussed earlier. He said no shit.
I was waiting.
Oh,
for
I
you
said
to-
shit. Shit.
We don't have any guests today. It's okay.
Network sensors are already losing their mind. I'll have to deal with them off camera. No worries.
Y'all order some DoorDash. I need some money.
All right, gents. Special thanks to James joining the show. James, you got something? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you
that
there.
was really it for me. I just came on to slander Birmingham and say go Renegades. So, yeah, mission accomplished.
Oh, Bullpen said any Beham contracts out there.
We'll see.
I don't think so.
They
Unless
had a
we're-
petition. They got 2,000 signatures. They're set. They're good.
Yep. Keep signing that petition, guys. That'll sway the league.
Abdul, listen. I was saying things and shaking up.
Which
And- And I
is shit.
I mixed the two.
Wait,
Because
how did it
needed
go?
to
I
do
didn't
more
watch the interview.
damage to my
What did
name.
what did you say?
Big fan.
Yeah, I don't ever watch anything PFN does unless I'm in it.
Nice.
All right, guys.
No, you got to tell me what you did in the interview.
Oh, well, you know what? Can I
Oh, he's gonna pull it up.
You're gonna pull it
Because I
up.
just realized I'm.
Also, this is completely UFL Isaac. You should send me the photos that we took throughout the season on Instagram. You should send those to me because I want to do an end of the year post eventually.
Oh, I just realized that it's probably not going to play with sound because when you share your screen, it doesn't. The sound doesn't. I would have to download the video and upload it to Riverside, and that's gonna.
Okay.
That's a whole
All right.
process. Next
Perhaps-
time. Next
For
time.
next time, we'll clip it for next time. Oh God,
Columbus Sea Dragons.
Columbus Sea Dragons, Columbus Sea Dogs.
I feel like Ohio Bulldogs is a better name than Aviators
I'd like that.
because you've got Cleveland and they're the dog pound, so you're kind of doing the same, but not the same. So it's not too close, it's not too far away. It works.
Knowing Columbus, I would call them the Brokers. I bet they get a nationwide sponsorship right away.
The Columbus Brokers. What's that? I don't know what that means.
Nationwide is like
Oh,
2 or 3.
okay.
Like they're like it's like their main center. It's like you got insurance brokers right there.
Yeah.
Just harass your opponents to death.
Yeah. I think Bulldogs works though. I like the logo.
Yeah.
And then we could call like the fan zone like I can't say that on
Dog
Here.
pound.
no. I was gonna say
Right there.
I was gonna Pound Town.
The Nut House.
Wait. We could be the Bone Dome.
The Bone Dome.
I don't know. I'll think of something.
The Bone Bowl.
I don't think
Dome.
they'll use Buckeye in the name. That'd be cool though. Nationwide is offsides.
Hey. All right. I think we're good. James, thanks, Mr. Baker, that is. Thanks for joining the show. Ducky, as always, glad to have you on. And Mr. Larson, keep killing it as well. I'm Zach Heilman. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you soon enough. Going to have some talk on performances from preseason coming up as that's kicking off this Thursday and Friday. So be sure to root for your favorite UFL guys. They're trying to make the rosters. They're going to be looking to make their mark on your television set. See you next time, people. Have a good one.
James Larson sucks and needs to
Take
die.
flight.